All right, quarantine barber tutorial on a taper. Let's go. All right, take 3. Here we go. Now here, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove some bulk. I like to work my way from the top to the bottom just to remove bulk, and then I like to work my way from the bottom to the top. So on this video, I'm just using a number 2 guard, removing that bulk. And what I'm gonna do right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick tutorial on how to do a cut with the C cup, which is the arch where your temple bone is. And then pretty much I'm just going to go ahead and shape that arch up first, so that way you could have a guideline to do that. And the reason why is this: when you create that guideline and you're fading it up, or you're doing a taper, you won't lose and cut into that guideline to make sure that C cup is there at the end of the cut. Now that is a customer's preference if they want it or not. This one I'm not going to go too into it. You'll still see a little bulk right there on the temples, but like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you how we could start it. And that's just using the T-edgers. I'll start any type of balders. At this one I'm doing using a Braun Series 9. And what we're doing is raking those balders up and using the corners and the tip of that shaver, and also for the clipper work. So when you're using the balders, you don't want to push that against the skin and then pushing and taking the bulk off. You want to rake that, like any movement, just keep raking it. That's the key word to this, is rake all your work. That way you would not create a hard line, and it'll actually leave it at like a soft line and easier to blend in. If you see, I'm just working my way from T-edgers to the balders, and then I work my way from the close clippers, and then went ahead and opened it, and then it's just working your way up. You don't want to work your way between your guards, like you don't want to jump guards. So you don't want to go from a 0 to the 2 and then a 2 to a 1. You want to work your way from a 0 to a half to a half to a 1, 1 to a 1.5, and then you just go in and keep using the corners to remove that bulk. If you can see, I'm stretching the skin also. You do want to stretch that skin so that way you can easily see where the shadow is and remove that the line that you created. If you could tell, my son is out. It is quarantine season, but I promise you, when he wakes back up, he'll definitely feel a little bit more confidence and a little energy boost there. So with this situation here, we're just gonna go ahead and keep going, working our way up and down. There's no way you could just go ahead and use a one-time stroke and then you're done. You gotta work your way back and forth just to get the cleanest cut you can. So I'm just going ahead and using the half guard to the 1 to the 1.5. And if you notice, if your client does fall asleep, just hold that, where you're at, and then let their head go, and then they'll just let their head drop and they'll wake back up, hopefully. But you don't ever want to do, see, but go ahead and yeah, definitely when you make videos, you please try to figure out how to make some, no ums and stuff. But with his situation, if you see in the corner of his ear where the end of that taper is, you definitely see a bulk there. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll use a number 1 guard, and then for the corner, the tip of that, you want to go ahead and just use a half guard, which won't show in this video because I'm just trying to do a quick tutorial on both sides on how to do a C cup. Now with this, the C cup, I didn't define it so much and use the razor to show that. I was just kind of showing how to shape that. So when I do the other side of the taper, I'll just go ahead and match that as well. And we're just going to go ahead and go through the back now. Definitely, if your client has a lot of hair like this, use a headband and then use a clip. Brush all the hair down, and then I'm just going to do the same process. Take the bulk down, just using a number 2 guard. Number 2 guard, brush it down. And then from here, you want to do the same thing and outline your client's neckline. That will help a lot to show and like to keep your guidelines on how to fade, and that way you won't lose sight of, okay, this side is, this one's higher, this one's, you want to go ahead and just shape it up. And if you notice, I went ahead and used T-edgers, and I did like a half a moon, almost like a burst fade, to create that guideline. It's not the perfect guideline, but it definitely helps me onto keeping that keeping that guideline to where it could leave a little burst action, so you could. The reason we do that is because when you do the end of the taper, it'll keep the corners of their neckline darker and the middle lighter, and have that little burst to show the fade, and it'll keep their neck shape with the haircut. Some people like it. Sometimes, it's just more so on you as a barber. You want to choose that for your client, because if you keep it to where you remove that corner of the neckline, it will shape the back of their neck and make their neck look fat, and you don't want that. Yes, I said it, fat. So you want them to look like they have a neckline in the back. And so from here, it's the same situation. We're just going ahead and do 0 to close guard, open guard, to the half guard, and just work your way up. It's every section doesn't have to be faded up. If you don't see it, just get the lines where you see. I can see I do have the left side a little nicer and crispier, because by the way my lighting set up and the way I was positioned. So I'll go ahead and I just went ahead and work that bulk off to the right side. But after you're done, definitely just go over and edge it up, because when you edge it up the first time, you're definitely not going to get the natural or crispier line. Then go ahead and just rake that up, and then just go ahead and just keep working its way up, and use the corners of your clippers. On this side, this is where I'll jump to where we usually do, is just a high taper. So I'll go ahead and use a close guard, and go ahead and use the T-edgers to the balders, and like I said, rake it up, use the corners of that, and that's how you could prevent to not create a heavy line and remove that line as easy as possible to save some time, because time is money right now in our hands, and that's what we want to do. You don't want to keep working your way back and forth and struggling and be stressed about it, and then your client just doesn't want to come back to you because you're taking 3 hours on their haircut, unless it's a full service. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and just still work my way up. If you notice that it's getting smooth on the temple side, so I'm going to kind of leave that alone. If you see it where you don't have to fade anymore and you only see a certain part, just focus on that area, because sometimes the way their head shape is, and if they have a dent or a scar, sometimes it needs to be left heavier. So you don't want to just go ahead and keep working it in, and then you're like, it just doesn't make it blend in. So but this situation, we're almost done. I'm just going to take this bulk off behind his ear to connect it, to make it like a smooth transition of the way it's going to look on his head when he pulls it up into a hair tie. With the hair tie, sorry. And then just keep using the corners of your clippers. That's going to be the high taper. And then when the wave, you line up from the edge, from the back of their neck to the ear. Try to keep it as natural as possible. And then definitely just, like I said, rake all the way below the ear, so that way it takes all those baby hairs off. Alright, this is where a lot of interest is for a lot of cosmos and stylists in my area. The lineup. The lineup, you want to go ahead and brush the baby hair down, and the safeguard that we use, that I think is a 1.5 guard, and you want to work your way with the grain. Now in his situation, I worked it against it just because his baby hair was so long. So you want to go ahead and brush it down. Start from the center of the forehead and then rock your way from the left to the right. In this case, I'm just going to work on to his right side, my left side, and I'm just going to box that out. And then go ahead and shape that box where the corner is. And you want to go ahead and try to line it up with the edge of their eyebrow. If you notice that, I kept the high taper on the other side, so I was just blending in that little corner to keep it a little higher there. And then that's how you create your hairline. Go ahead and, use Exotics All Natural Shave Gel. Apply that, or Shave Therapy as well. Apply that on the forehead. You could go online to exoticsproducts.com, enter in code CS123 to receive your discount and purchases of bulk orders as well. Y'all could get bulk orders, wholesale, and go ahead and use these products on your clients, because I promise you, once you apply these products of Exotics, they will definitely come back. Maybe not for the haircut, but for that product itself. As you notice, I'm using it to on his eyebrows as well. A lot of client requests just to clean up around in the baby hair, so that way it doesn't look like it's disconnected from their natural their hairline. And from here, I just went ahead and added the little slit connection to his haircut. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and use Table Rock pomade. That is a local product here in Idaho. That way we could go ahead and smooth it out, and you don't have to use hairspray to cause it to look frizzy or stiff. And this is the final look. Thanks for watching. I'll try to keep up with more videos. Please subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thanks for showing some love, yo.